Thank you all for joining us on our first weekly football media availability with Coach Oliver at North Carolina Central University. We'll start today. We'll have Coach Oliver as well as our offense and defensive coordinators. We'll start with Coach Oliver. We'll begin with a general statement from Coach Oliver about camp and the upcoming game. Then we open up to members of the media for questions.
Thank you all for jumping on. That time of the year, obviously it's game week and we're excited. I thought we had a very productive camp, relatively injury-free. And I thought that offensively and defensively, I thought we made a lot of strides and had a lot of carryover from the spring. So I'm really impressed where we are on both sides of the ball. I think the biggest thing that stood out thus far throughout camp was our overall team speed. I think we've improved tremendously in that area. Defensively, I think that we've gotten improved in tackling, got a little more physical up front. Offensively, obviously we solidified a number one quarterback, and I thought that we developed some young offensive linemen. So got to get some things cleaned up this week before we head down to Miami, but we're definitely looking forward to line up against Alabama State in the Orange Blossom Classic.
I'll be the guy to lead off with the problem here, so you can blame me for this one. We've covered the quarterback and running backs, wideouts, and defensive line. I was wondering if you feeling better about that defensive secondary, because I know that was one of the areas that kind of gave me a little longer pause on when I asked you about it. After these last couple of weeks of camp, I know you settled on a rotation. How comfortable are you with those guys being able to lock that secondary down?
Definitely. I thought we grew up a lot after our first scrimmage, and I think it really started with communication. We had to preach over communicating and things of that nature. So, alignment and assignment, guys knew what to do and they're capable of doing it, but we just had to make sure everybody was on the same page in the back end, because obviously if you have, any communication breakdowns, that's going to lead to points. So I thought the last scrimmage that, the guys played much better and were much more consistent back in the back end and made some plays. And just watching the energy the last few practices, you can tell the guys are playing with a lot more confidence now, and that's good to see.
I could follow it up with one quick one before I hand it off here. Usually coaches like to get at least not a gimme game, but you don't want to take on a preseason ranked number one squad right out of the gate. Would you rather start with somebody else just to get these guys some snaps and get some hitting instead of going up against a squad like Alabama State?
Chris, I think you know me, man. I'm all about competition and the challenge. So what better way to start it off? Number one against number one. And let's put the boat in the water and the ship in the water and see if it floats. But we're excited, and I'm excited about the opportunity to play a big matchup, a big opponent like this right here. Over the past few years, if you've seen our schedule, we don't play too many lower tier programs. So this right here will let us know exactly where we stand. If you want to be in top 20 and top 25 polls, you have to play these tough opponents. So we welcome it.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about Walker. How have you kind of seen him grow in the offseason? Do you feel like he's ready to handle this QB1 role?
Definitely. I thought Walker could have handled the role last year. I thought that he's prepared since he's been here to be the number one guy. Obviously, he was behind Davius last year, but he's picked off where he left off, with the season. And he had a whole lot of playing time last year, quality game reps. So we know that he's more than capable. I think the big thing for Walker is just going to be to settle down, let the game come to him. We don't have to make the big play every play. Take what the defense gives you. Don't press and don't try to do too much, and he'll be just fine. He's a very smart young man. Has great arm strength, and I'm expecting big things out of him this year.
Cool beans. And then just moving forward to this weekend, are there any type of hidden opportunities that you're looking to see outside of a win or loss? Things like, maybe chemistry between players, certain packages that you're excited to see against a live front, certain things like that.
I definitely want to see our guys play and compete against somebody else. We've been banging against each other for 3 or 4 weeks now, but I want to see that W first and foremost. It's easy to get stuff corrected after a win, but I know it's going to be a process. It's just going to be a long season, and even throughout the game, it's going to be some ups and some downs, and we just have to weather the storm and continue to play. But I'm pleased where we are, and I'm sure we'll be just fine.
And then your last question, I know you mentioned it earlier, Chris mentioned this also as well, but I know we're talking about getting right into the bang of things early, but do you think that college football should have a preseason, or that like there should be some sort of exhibition game maybe leading up to the games that actually matter, or are you one of those people that just ready to dive into it?
I'll let the NCAA deal with the rules, man. I can't keep up with them folks, man. Just send me an email of the rule book, and we'll follow the rules. But it might be good to have one scrimmage, a control type scrimmage with some situational stuff with another team. But it's a fine line between being physical and being tough and preparing your team and still trying to stay healthy. So if you do have a preseason game, that's going to bring in the possibility of some more injuries. So you do want to stay away from that, but at the same time, you would like to see your team against another opponent.
Kind of general question here. The Orange Blossom Classic, what does it mean for you all to play in this as a team and to start the season on a national stage like this?
Well, it means everything. For us to be able to play in an NFL venue like the Hard Rock Stadium and then on national television, like you said, it's just one more opportunity for us to be able to put our brand out there. And, another opportunity for us to show the country, North Carolina Central football and our program and, the strides we've taken. But you can't, this opportunity to play on national television and especially against an opponent like Alabama State, that speaks volumes. So we're really excited about that.
To ask you about any kind of crossover opponents. There's only one that I saw. That was Mississippi Valley State between you two last year. You guys smashed them. They simply beat them. Can you take anything away from that game? And I want to say it was one that Walker started in as well. Not that that means anything, but is there anything you can take from that crossover game to help you out this week?
Very little. They have a new offensive coordinator down there, so their offense is going to look completely different. They have 2 new quarterbacks that we had to prepare for that weren't on the team last year. I think they only returned 1 starting offensive lineman. So they got a bunch of transfers that came in after last season. So we're going to feel those guys out. We've looked at a bunch of film from other schools that these people came from to try to get a feel for their athletic ability and what they do. But it's a whole different team, and like you said, we have a different quarterback as well. So Walker did start in that game and had a great day.
Kind of hit on my next question there. I want to say Texas Southern and Eastern Illinois, they got 2 transfers coming in from that. What have you, I guess you've been preparing for everything, just a little bit of it all, but is there any one guy that you're preparing for over the other? Or are you trying to work on what you guys do and not get into what they do?
Well, yeah, it definitely starts with us. And aside from our opponent, we just have to take care of our business and do what we're supposed to do defensively. But we have watched film from Andrew Body that was at Texas Southern. We watched film on Jonas Kidd, I think from Eastern Illinois. We've gone back and even watched their high school film. We went back and watched North Carolina A&T games from the coordinator from 2022 when we played them. And then last year when the coordinator was at Winston. So we've watched high school film on these guys, and we've watched several college films. So whatever film we can get a hold of, we've watched it.
And to go just a little bit deeper there, I know that they say that obviously the teams take on the personality of their head coaches. It's obvious, it's central with the way that the Eagles play. What is that squad like under Eddie Robinson Jr. there? Steady Eddie, I want to say, is what they called him when I saw him when he was playing with the Titans. But it seems like they're steadily doing that. What have you seen from them?
You're right. They've really trending in the right direction since he took over the program. I think they went 7-4 last year, but they had a lot of close games and one possession games. So they were in every game last year, I believe. And I think they were 1 game out of the conference championship. So they are a disciplined football team, and they are very athletic. The skill positions, they have some receivers that can really run. And in the secondary, they have some guys that can run. So, we're going to have to keep the ball in front of us in the back end. Our secondary, we can't let those guys get behind us. But they're an athletic bunch and disciplined ball club.
Final question, I promise here.
You're okay, Chris.
Is there a difference in the teams? Obviously, the coaches don't play. I get that. But is there a difference in the style of play or the attitude of squads from guys that have been in the league than guys that haven't been in the league? Do you see any difference in that? And has his NFL experience bled through and helped out that squad?
I think it's you see some NFL guys that have come in and done, great jobs with their teams. And have well-coached teams, and you see other NFL guys that come in and, not so much. So I think it's more so just the individual themselves. NFL is a whole different league, and so coaching is different. It's a lot of guys that can play the game but can't coach the game. And I was one of those guys. I'm one of those guys that can coach the game and wasn't good enough to play in the NFL. So I don't know, man. But I'd rather, at this point in my life, I'd rather be one of those guys that can coach and wasn't quite good enough to play in the league.
This Alabama State defense is pretty legit. I think it's 3 all-conference players. They have the transfer linebacker Rico Dozier from Arkansas Pine Bluff. What about this defense stands out to you as you've been preparing for them? What do you think is going to be the most dangerous thing to deal with from your all's perspective?
They're very active, and they play with a lot of confidence, and they're very physical. You see these guys, they're flying around. A lot of it is second and third effort. You see guys straining, and they're fighting off blocks, and it's a crease there for the running back. Then all of a sudden, a D lineman will fight off a block, or a linebacker will fight off a block and fall into a play. But their defensive ends are very athletic. They have one young man, I think he ran like 10-6 and 100 back in high school. So we've got to do a good job of protecting our quarterback. But it does start up front with our run game. We got to be able to run the football, bottom line. So I think they only gave up 100 yards twice last year. So, we have to be able to figure out a way to create some gaps and get our run game going.
They finished the season. You mentioned the tight games they were in, but they also finished the season, I think, winning 6 of their last 7 or something like that. In your estimation, in your experience as a coach, how does ending the season on a win streak like that translate to the beginning of a next season, a first game?
Oh, it has a lot to do with it. Confidence going into the offseason. Obviously, it'll help you with recruiting. And then you kind of set the foundation. The guys understand what the standard is and what the expectations, and, they're winning and things like that. So it's big to end the season on a good note, a positive note like that, to give you some confidence, in the offseason with your offseason workouts and all that. So they're confident. They're a confident bunch. They really are. But so are we.
Just jump right into it. A lot of changeover from last year, this year on the squad. I want to ask you about game planning for not 1 but 2 quarterbacks that they've got this go around. How do you prep for that? What are you looking at, and what are the differences in those 2 guys that they might line up under center out there when you see them?
We understand that Body is more of a dual threat guy, and O'Brien is more of a pocket passer. But we took a deep dive into the offensive coordinator. We worked together a few years ago, and we played each other the last 2 previous seasons. So we kind of been doing a deep dive of the offense as a whole, and just understanding what Coach Barnett likes to do in different situations. So just like Coach Oliver stated, it's not about them, it's about us, just fine-tuning what we do as a defensive unit.
And I asked him as well, and you know how Coach Oliver is. Let's get it on now. But what do you think about going out and playing a squad that, is preseason number 1, as opposed to one that you could maybe try a few things out on? What is it? Would you rather jump right in the deep end right off the top, or kind of wade into the pool?
Well, we're competitors over here, and we're not going to shy away from whether it's a gimme game, as people would like to say, or we're going up against the number 1 preseason team in the SWAC. So, just put the ball down and we're ready to play.
Final question. How are you with the depth on that side of the football? Because I know in years past it's been a little bit thin sometimes, but are you confident in the guys that you've developed, not just the top 11, because I know those guys are ready to roll, but the guys that may have to come in and back those guys up?
Yeah, most definitely. Going into this offseason, that was one of the things that we needed to address, and I thought we did a great job of adding depth to our defense at all 3 levels. So we feel pretty confident with our second and key reserves coming in if they have to come in. We understand it's going to be a hot ball game. So we're looking for everybody to get in and play significant minutes.
When you look at what Coach Oliver has been talking about for so much this spring, summer, fall, it's been about developing speed. How is that speed development that you all have had as a team translated on the defensive end? How do you see this team getting faster?
Well, we've gotten faster on all three levels, up front, second level, and definitely in the back end. We definitely wanted to get bigger back there as well. And we felt like we addressed those needs through recruiting. And you know, you're gonna see some guys flying around. We preach that as a defensive staff. We want 10 hats to the ball with the backside corner, taking a breakaway angle to give us another blade of grass to defend.
How much does speed make playing defense easier?
If one person misses a tackle, you know, everybody needs to be there to you know, corral the ball carrier. It's not as noticeable. You know, when guys are not running to the football, you know, that missed tackle stands out like a sore thumb. So it's very important when you got speed on defense, because, you know, like I said, you know, one mistake can be corrected by, you know, 10 guys, 11 guys getting to the ball carrier.
Robert McMinn, I know, is a really talented player they've got, but who when you are studying their offense, who jumps out to you the most when you put them on film?
It's a couple of different guys. Like Coach stated, they have one returning offensive lineman. He's an experienced guy. That's the center up front. He calls the shots up front for their offensive line. They have a big 50-50 ball guy receiver who's a 6'4" guy. And they have, you know, 2 transfer quarterbacks that we're prepared to see. So it's not just one particular person that we're trying to stop. We're going in, you know, with the understanding that, you know, they do have some speed and they do have some weapons. So we're prepared for those guys.
I wanted to know what it means to you to be able to go down and play in the Classic and to be a part of the Renaissance, if you would. I know an alum, but you spent time at that other school down the street at A&T there for a little while. But what does it mean to be able to play in the Orange Blossom Classic here for you?
Oh, this is huge. It's a huge season opener for us. It's a great bowl game. And, you know, you're playing in an NFL venue, like Coach stated, national TV. So it's huge, and we're excited. Our players are excited, and we're going down there to put on the show.
I know that he was on the team and was right there behind Davius all last year, but I got to ask you about Walker and how comfortable you are. And I think I know the answer to this, but to him, as far as being able to take over and run your offense.
Yeah, I'm highly confident in Walker Harris. Walker's been around here and in the program now for several years, and he's always prepared himself like the starter, even though he knew Davius Richard was the guy at the time. And because of his preparation and his approach to the game, I think he's ready for his opportunity and his time, and feel very confident that we'll be able to run our offense as efficiently as possible with Walker Harris at quarterback.
You cater it to the strengths and, you know, away from the weaknesses as far as the playbook is concerned. How much have you had to do that with him? Because it looks like he's got pretty full command over everything. But is there anything that you've had to change, or let's just say maybe modify to suit him this year that we maybe didn't see from Davies last year?
The foundation of the offense, the base of the offense is still the same, but we're playing more to Walker Harris's strengths. He is not, he's a good athlete and he's a deceptive athlete, but he's not the runner that Davius Richard was. So obviously some of the design quarterback run game is a little different than what we've done in the past. Walker can manage the offense. He's got all the same responsibilities that we gave Davius in this offense with the run game checks and making sure we're on the same page with protections. And so, you know, as far as the offensive scheme, we've tailored towards Walker's strengths, but he's got full command of what we're doing offensively.
Mookie was a workhorse. You've got not one, but I want to say 3, 4 guys that could possibly step in there. Who do you feel most confident with? And are we going to get to see 1 or 2 or all 4 this weekend?
There's going to be an opportunity for a lot of the guys to play this weekend. We're definitely fully confident in Jamari Taylor. Jamari has been an elite player for us. I know he was more in a reserved role. But there was a couple games last year that Mookie got banged up in, and you know we didn't really miss a beat because Jamari's that type of player, and he does a lot not only in the run game but in protections and in the passing game. He's a threat as well. And then we've got some other backs that I'm excited to see. Some guys that you know have not had as many carries as maybe Jamari has had in the past, but they're ready to go. And a guy like AJ Rogers, he's a big back, downhill type of guy that we're excited to see. And Maggio is another one that's had a really good camp. That's a name that started to show up in our program that we're excited to see what he can do as well. So, but that room's got a stable of guys that is going to be ready to play.
What about Walker as a quarterback really, transcends, makes a difference, makes him as talented as people like Coach Oliver have described him as?
Yeah, he one thing that stands out about Walker is he loves football. He spends a lot of time on the game, whether it's in the coach's offices or on his own. He watches so much film, and that's not something that just started happening. I mean, that's been that way since he's been on campus. I mean, he loves ball, and he spends a lot of time on it. And then he's really an elite passer. I mean, he's got a strong arm. He's got the ability to put the ball anywhere. He's a very accurate passer. And then his just knowledge of the overall game and what we're doing schematically, and his comfortability in it, makes him a really good quarterback.
Coach Oliver has said a lot during this spring, summer, and fall is the need to add speed to this team. Offense, that feels like it's a very easy, kind of translation. If someone is fast, they've got a better chance of scoring. But how have you seen the offense in general add to that speed, and how do you think it is changed what you all are able to do?
Yeah, I think we got speed at every position. I think we've done a good job of making sure we're bringing the right type of guys into the program. And one of the things that stick out, first we recruit guys with high character, and then when we start looking at their athletic ability and their attributes, speed is a big thing that we look for. We want to be fast, we want to be physical, and then we want to play disciplined football. And we got guys at every spot on the field: wide receiver, running back, tight ends, that can run. And we're even athletic up front. We do some various things in the run game that we ask our offensive linemen to get in space a little bit, or maybe screen game. And so we want guys that can move up front as well. So we're excited about our overall team speed. I know that's a big part of offense, being able to create separation, and you break a tackle at running back, being able to get in the open field and turn a short yard gain into an explosive play or a long touchdown. So that's something that Coach Oliver has been stressing to the whole program, that we got to get speed in here and we got to get faster. And I think we've done a good job doing that.
The Orange Blossom Classic, what does it mean for you all and as a team to be playing in this game, to be playing on a national stage on a Sunday of all times for week one? I
think it's big for the program. A lot of the guys in this program has had opportunities to play on national stage now. At this point, we got a lot of young guys in the program that are taking on a new role. So I think it's always good to start the season in the spotlight, start the season in a national televised game, and they get to see it. And our guys are prepared for it. But we're excited for the opportunity. Anytime that you get to put your brand in front of as many people as possible and put a good product on the field, I think it's a great opportunity. So we're excited for it, and we've been preparing since January for this season, and we're excited to kick off.